Greetings, programs, and welcome to the next of my backlog of games that I've been meaning to look at. And this one I have been meaning to look at for quite a long while. I actually got the key for this when it was still in early access and kind of forgot, because I'm a professional YouTuber, you know. Yeah. Anyway, but better late than never. The game is now out as a full release. It's on Steam and probably elsewhere. And like the games I have covered up till now, in the last couple of videos, this is a game that's quite a lot like another game. In this case, FTL, but it is different enough that it might well be worth your time, even if you have played FTL. Now, it's the same basic concept. I'm actually just going to start a new game, and I'll probably just be playing this for however long, like 30 or 40 minutes, and talking as I go. Should we do the tutorial? I've done the tutorial already, but everyone will be able to see what I'm doing. It's the same basic concept. You have a spaceship that you have to get through to an end goal. It's got various modules that you have to, manage and can potentially upgrade. It's got various crew that you have to look after, and you can get additional crew, and sometimes you have to worry about being boarded. And although there isn't that ticking time limit like there is in FTL, where you've got the rebel fleet chasing after you, in this it's more the resource management that is the biggest threat, because there's usually multiple ways you can do things. You can either go and choose to fight, or you can explore around a bit, or you can try and buy your way through certain situations. And there's a lot of the random chance outcomes that you would recognize from FTL. But all of that is costing you not only fuel, but also food. Or, well, organics, which is how your crew keep fed, and also how you heal them up as well. And I think you can also combine organics with one of the other materials to turn into fuel if you have the correct module on your ship for it. So if you run out of either of those, obviously it's fairly bad. So that's where the challenge of this game really lies, much more than FTL, because you did have to manage your fuel, obviously, in FTL, and you also had your money resource, which you also have in this. But because you had that ticking, time limit of the rebels coming after you, it kind of gave things a different complexion. Whereas this, you can take a bit more time about it, but you still have to be careful, because if you spend too long exploring around the place, you're going to run out of resources. So this is, we're just going to go through the tutorial, and it's going to tell me, and this is the map, by the way. This is one of the other big differences, is that you have a map that you can move around in real time, and other things will move around on the map as well. So it's not just jumping from system to system. You actually get to decide what you're doing in individual systems, but if you're not paying attention, you can end up wasting food and fuel as you're doing it. So it's just telling me where all the various things are. So this is my ship, and at the moment doesn't have a lot of anything. So we're going to basically stick in a reactor module. There we go, and we get the little screen there telling us all about that. We can turn it on and off. I think there's even there we go. Yeah, there's like a module overlay that you can use to turn everything on and off at the same time. That's the V hotkey by default. We've also got various crew members around the place, as you can see. That's all their stats there, including a cat. Ship's pets are a thing. And they all have different things that they are good and bad at. So it's just telling me about the controls. You can use WASD keys to move around, which is quite useful. And now it wants me to put in a container, so that's fine. And that is an engine, so obviously that's going to move us around. And then we've got fuel tanks. So let's stick one there, and this is going to be not entirely symmetrical. As you'll notice, the slots are different shapes, so different slots have different purposes. Some of them are primarily meant as weapons, and in fact I probably could have put that one in a different slot, but this is just the tutorial, so it doesn't matter too much. Exotic matter. Exotic matter is a kind of, not really a currency, but there's some weapons use it. You can trade it for quite a lot of the credits, and it's basically the rarest resource, so you kind of want to hang on to it, but you know, sometimes you can use it as a resource for various things as well. So command bridge, obviously an important module, and a sensor. It's just basically acquainting you with all of the different modules needed for the ship. Right, so it's going to tell me about moving around the star system. So it's literally just right-clicking, and you've also got this sensor bubble, which lets you, if stuff is in the sensor bubble, you can basically scan it. So you're not necessarily going to want to go to every single thing that you can see. So it's telling me go over here, so we'll do that, but we won't move directly onto it. We'll let the sensor scan it, and that tells us that's a shipwreck. And that gives me a pop-up. And as this is the tutorial, it's going to just give me some stuff. In this case, a cryopod. Now, because you are dealing with needing food for your crew in the form of organics, you will, especially for a large crew, tend to run down quite quickly. But what you can do is you can stick crew members into cryo storage, and it actually wants me to put one crew member into the bridge, so we'll do that. And if you use this menu here, the roles menu, it seems to automatically put the best crew skill person in there. So for instance, that would, putting that person on as a security officer, you can see there they've got a hand weapon skill of 5. But the rest of them we want to actually put into, there we go, that. And I think even the cat can. Yes, the cat even will go in the cryo sleep bay. So that will considerably reduce the amount of food. So there we go. And it calculates it by range rather than time. So as you're flying around the map, you'll see that fuel and organics both go down. So you can see at the moment, it's actually telling me the consumption for all of the crew in cryo sleep is 0. The downside of this, of course, is if you blunder into a battle, you need to get your crew out of cryo sleep and get them to their effective stations. But we'll come to battles rather soon. So we are being told to go check out this hidden warehouse, and you can see the fuel going down as we move. We don't need to scan that apparently. And I think this gives us some extra modules. Dun dun dun. So we lost a health point on one of the crew members. We don't have med bay. You don't get one by default, but you can choose one as a starting perk, which we'll get to once I've gotten past the tutorial. But they can, I think there's like a chance percentage so that they can heal while they are in cryo sleep. So I picked up another module and more fuel. And that's given us a warp drive, which is obviously what you need to jump from system to system. So we go into the sector map in this case, and warp to destination. And if you actually zoom out, you can see it's not just a discrete, self-contained map for each solar system. The solar systems all exist on one map, which is quite nice for looking around. I don't think it serves that much practical purpose, but yeah. So it wants me to fly over here to pick up some equipment. This is station. This is the interface you'll see when you dock with any automated trade station. You do also get like NPC traders that you can bump into, just like FTL, and sometimes they'll give you good deals, sometimes they'll give you terrible deals. The trade stations tend to be just kind of like fixed in terms of how much they give. You can't barter or anything like that, but it might vary from system to system. I don't know. So it wants me to go to my cargo hold and scrap some resource packs that it's given me. And you can actually turn, like if you have an excess of any material, you can turn that material into these kind of more compact resource packs to sit in your cargo bay. But for now, it's given us some to actually play with. So the exotic artifacts container, so we'll click scrap and it'll say, are you sure? And there we go. So that's given us 37 exotics, and it wants me to sell all those, which in this case is going to give us a whole bunch of credits. And then it wants me to buy some modules, so it wants me to buy a resource container and a shield generator. So this is a multi-resource container, so we'll buy one of them for 100 credits. And which one's the shield generator? That one. So we can... oh, yeah, I had to make that mistake the very first time I did this as well. You don't actually have to click exit to do that. You just click on the cargo bay. So we can install that, say, there, and then we've got a shield generator. Let's install that in the rear section. So now we have shields. And then it wants me to buy the 3 weapons. Da-da-da-da. And then we'll stick those in these weapon slots, one of which I did manage to fill with a thing. But never mind, it doesn't actually matter. We don't need that weapon slot anyway. So, your primary ammo source is explosives. Not every weapon seems to need explosives. Some use other types of materials, or in the case of lasers, obviously they're energy weapons, so they only require power. And again, it wants me to scrap more stuff. 1 explosives pack and metals pack. Because I think one of these actually requires metals. Yes. So this is this rocket launcher. By the way, we should also upgrade, or we could also upgrade one of our hybrid slots into a weapons slot. Okay. Right, what we will need to do then is actually store that organics container, and then we can just move that back there. That's fine. It's really simple to move stuff around so long as you actually do have... oh wait, that's already a weapon slot. It wants me to... What's a hybrid slot then? Is that a hybrid slot? Let's store that. Yes, that's a hybrid slot. So it's a little hard to tell what types the slots are sometimes when you've actually filled them already. But yeah, this is another thing you can do. You can click on empty slots to do various things. And you can also make DIY weapons. So again, different from FTL in that you can make your own weapons on the fly if you have the materials. They're going to be less good than some of the weapons and modules that you can buy. But yeah, as you can see, if you can find the materials, you can make stuff, which is quite handy. I think that's something the Captain's Edition mod for FTL did. But yeah, it's where are we? Weapons. So it wants me to actually make a DIY weapon, but I'm pretty sure that's something you couldn't do in the base game. Right, what shall we make? It doesn't really. Is it wanting us to make any particular thing? I don't think so. It's just telling me all the things I can make. A converted ancient mini cannon. Let's have one of those. Ancient point defense weapon converted into a small caliber auto cannon. Low accuracy and fragile bullets. So not very good, but you know, better than nothing. So we're going to jump to the next sector, and I believe this will be the combat tutorial. And where are we? So it's telling me there is, yes, so it's telling me there's a thing. Oh, dump excess Right, craft packets, because we have too many metals at the moment. So we've automatically, you know, crafted, well, not automatically. I clicked a button and it crafted it into a metals pack. That's why we couldn't move. So as they detected me, they flew out to meet me. They weren't just sitting completely idle. So yeah, it's not just you approaching things. Sometimes things will fly up to you and you can waste fuel and organics trying to dodge them. And, you know, hopefully jump to the next system before they catch you, or else you can take the risk and have a fight. Although sometimes you can bribe your way out of fights as well. So this is a practice fight. As you can see, we've got our shield. It's not a very good shield, but we've got plenty of hull points. You can actually mouse over there and see the state of the hull as well. And where are we? Currently our weapons are... Okay, so it wants me to just get all the crew out of cryo sleep, basically. So let's wake everybody up. And send a crew member. We need 4 people on the turret. And we've actually got 1 left over that we'll stick onto repair skill for now. There is a lot of assigning stuff on the fly. In fact, if we pause that for a second and take a look at the one of the crew members. Wait, how do I look at crew again? There we go, crew. Crew have levels, so if they survive long enough, then they'll level up, and at that point it's not like FTL. I know I keep comparing this to FTL, but it is the obvious point of comparison. I mean, this game is heavily inspired by FTL, but it's just they've tried to, you know, do some slightly different things and take things in a slightly different direction. So unlike FTL, where you level up your crew based in a speciality based on where they spend their time working, in this game you actually have to choose. You get to choose what you want to put the XP into. So you might end up with a bunch of very specialised crew members and then a couple of generalists, or you might have a crew of generalists who are kind of decent at everything but not great at any one particular thing. But my thought is that you will want to have at least a couple of specialists for some things. And then you might have a couple of multi-role people who, you know, specialise in security, firefighting and repairs, which are the 3 kind of floating tasks. There's also various roles that we can't actually assign because we don't have the relevant rooms. So, yeah, let's unpause and select our weapons, and basically we right click and you get this little overlap. Not overlap, you get this, well, if it overlaps multiple things that you want to hit, that's great, but if it overlaps over the edge of the ship, it means that it's potentially going to miss the ship. As you can see, we are just hammering this ship, which is, you know, it's a practice fight. It's not a particularly tough fight even. But obviously, you know, the other fights that you'll come up with, I'll come up against are a wee bit tougher than that, and we'll probably see some. Right, so yeah, just showing me the brief thing, and I've just explained things. So, you know, you want to aim within the square, and obviously different weapons have different areas of effect. And you've also got the hotbar, so you can select with the keys on the keyboard. You can click, and I think you can maybe assign hotkeys aside from the numeric keys. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, if your weapons run out of ammo, blah, blah, blah. So it's basically telling me, look out for my ammo. Oh, so you can scrap stuff for ammo. And I think, well, we do even have another one of those ammo packs. I don't think we took any damage, though, so nobody actually has to repair at the moment. And it's also telling me, and telling you by extension, that while you can repair on the fly, generally using either but it's metal for repairing the hull, and it's generally synthetics for repairing the different modules. It's a lot cheaper overall to repair at repair stations, because 1 hit point, 1 hull point, is 30 metal, which is pretty expensive. You will run through your metal fairly quickly. Just repairing 10 hull points would go through 300 metal. So you kind of want to only repair the worst damage, or as a last resort. If you absolutely cannot wait to get to somewhere where you can repair for cheaper. And it'll also let you look at the external view, which we could flick over by just highlighting that bar there. So that's, yeah, that basically shows up holes in the hull that you might need to worry about. So we've salvaged there we go. F5. What is F? Oh, F5 is just that. Okay. Yeah. We just want to now go to the exit, and I think that ends the tutorial. Oh, we're just flown into a barren planet. Well, you get to see what the planet exploration screen looks like. Obviously, there wasn't anything on that one. And here's another fight. So, just like FTL, I probably should have mentioned this as I was doing it. You could just pause at any time with the space bar. This craft is rather oddly shaped. There's a lot more variety in the ship designs. You know, this is one of the areas where it's not necessarily different from FTL, it's just there's more. So, you know, that's quite welcome. And I think there's a bit more variety in the styles of ship as well. Now, in this case, they're firing weapons that go through my shields. That's obviously not very nice. That's caused a fire, so we'll immediately reassign crew to putting that fire out. It's also damaged the reactor, so we're going to have someone repair that. In fact, we might actually just... there we go. And we're getting people taking damage as they are repairing stuff. You know, so they're going into the fire as well. But not a lot of... I don't think they've taken a lot. Unless it was actually just that guy who'd already lost a hit point. And they don't take damage from putting out fires. I don't know. Meanwhile, we're beating the snot out of this ship. They fired some, basically, yeah, nukes at me. Nukes are... You know, they're missile weapons, and as you can see, I've got 2 slots here. But, you know, once you fire them, I don't think you have any spares available within the thing. If you had any spares, they would have to go in the storage. And I don't know how that works exactly. I've not played with the nukes very much, but they're basically the most powerful missile weapon that I know of in comparison to your regular turreted weapons. So, yeah, we know about the roles panel, which is probably one you should just leave up all the time because it's quite handy. And we've got a karma point there as well. And karma points are what carries between your different playthroughs, basically. Now, I do have the entirety of the ships unlocked because I had this as an early access title, and it popped up my first playthrough after... it had launched as a full game, and it went, would you like to have access to all the ships? Because obviously it you know, reset everything that was in early access. So if you'd played through and unlocked all the ships previously, it was like, okay, here you go, you can have them all back without having to regrind them again. I hadn't, but I decided to anyway because, you know, for the purposes of doing a video, it's quite a useful thing to be able to look at all the different styles of ship. So you actually... you can see you get all the various stats here, weapon slots, other slots. Survivability, I'm not entirely sure what it's calculating that on, like hull strength maybe, or the number of slots it can have. I don't know. So you've got, anyway, you've got various different styles of ship, and some of them look quite funky. Now this one, this is one of the very different ones. Because this one heavily relies on organics rather than fuel. And so you don't really need to worry about fuel as much. In fact, you can, I think, turn your fuel into organics. I can't remember if that's a thing. I have played with this ship briefly. But then, you know, you have to extra worry about organics because basically everything's using them. So it becomes its own special little challenge. This one seems to be a bit more nuke based. That's got 4 nuke slots. This one clearly comes with some garden modules. I've not played all of these. This one is a bit more research based, and that actually is quite useful because research is your currency, essentially, the exploration points. This one is bit of science, bit of sustainability. Quite a lot of starting crew on that one, actually. That comes with 12 starting crew. This one is another one of the weird ones. 4 nuke slots again. Quite high evasion, actually. What's that? 20%? I think that's the highest. No, second highest evasion. This one actually has the highest evasion. And then you get this last one, which is the biggest ship, has the most slots, but only starts with 3 crew. 6 nuke slots, though. I mean, if you could fill those all up, that would be pretty formidable. But also, yeah, it has a very low starting crew, terrible evasion, but it has the highest survivability score, which I don't know if that's just like the amount of. Are there others with more? No, that's got the highest hull points, but only just. So I don't know, which one should we choose? I might try one I've not actually done before. Let's go with this high evasion one. It starts off with 10 crew, 33 hull points, 25 accuracy, 60 deflection. Okay, so that's kind of like its default damage absorption. How likely stuff is to do no damage. And 22 slots is overall quite good. And let's call this the yeah, it's totally, you know, totally a pirate ship. I'm sure some people will know what ship that's referring to. Anyway, so this is the crew we're starting off with. We have a drone, apparently, as well as a cat, and I think we can probably rename any of those if we want. And this is where fate points come in, because as you play through each run, you can accumulate the fate points. And there'll be certain actions that do them. I'm sure if you manage to, you know, get to the end, you'll get more fate points. And the more fate points you have, well, the more starting stuff that you'll have access to. And I presume, well, I don't know for sure, but yeah, it seems like just exploration. Some of these things might be tied to like, you know, Steam achievements or in-game achievements. But you do start with a certain set to begin with. I might have unlocked 1 or 2 as I've been playing as well, because I have played a couple of hours of this. And as you can see here down at the bottom, we have some that are ship specific. So not every module that you can get for the starting bonuses is available for every ship. So there's a fair amount of replayability here, even just exploring all the various ship types. So let's have a look. We can actually start off with buff the deflection, hull points, and some of these have a cost as well. So you'll start with -1 exotics, which you can actually kind of fill up again by there you go. You can spend 2 fate points to get to +1. And also the fact that, yeah, Aquani 2, that's definitely a reference. There's lots of little references in this game to various things, unsurprisingly. So let's see, we can have a converter module that contains fuel into food, which could be very useful. We have quite a large crew. We can have bigger fuel and organics containers, bigger ECM, upgrades both ECM turrets, -50 something, 50 credits presumably. I'm not sure what that is, -50, but that looks like it might be quite a useful one, so let's go for that. We can have security drones, which all take a chunk out of my starting credits, but they basically would be dedicated security without having to assign crew, but I don't think we really want that. We can have a capital missile, DIY point defense system. I think we do start off with the point defense anyway. Let's see what else is available. Backup bridge, backup warp drive, mini growery might be quite useful. You actually get 2 available, but this is obviously the better one. It's more expensive, And that comes at a cost of starting organics, so we might actually just get some bonus organics. And gardens are quite useful modules themselves, because anybody that you have assigned to a garden, not only are they producing organics, but their organic requirement drops to 0, just the same as if they were in a cryo chamber. So as you can imagine, that is really rather useful. We might also grab the improvised lab, because that will generate science data, aka currency, just as we're flying around. More various drones. Repairing gardening drone. That's quite expensive though. That's 4. Let's see if we want to get other stuff first. The swearing small bot. I don't think this actually does anything useful. This one's a bit more of a novelty, but perhaps there is some kind of achievement for taking that and getting to the end of a campaign. So there's some quite expensive ones here. Gosh, they take quite a lot. So these are quite kind of advanced ones. That's for when you've played a lot. But still, 50 fate points for a single module. Yeah. Plus 4 hit points. Got a cost of 90 synthetics. We can actually get a rat cook, which would be an extra crew member, but he would have a very, very good growing skill. Gardening, that's the word I'm looking for. But he's also, again, quite expensive. Scientist might be. I don't know what the... I mean, I think it just randomizes the starting crew. Med bay we might well want. I don't know if we have... Oh yeah, we can make a DIY med bay, but this way we don't need to actually devote materials to it. So what have we got left? 6. 1 resource pack, 12 organics. We'll take the bonus exotic matter. I think we'll take the bonus organics and bonus fuel, and that takes us to exactly 17. Hopefully we've got enough people that are good at growing stuff that yeah, it'll be able to make up for the lack of, like, the higher the skill, obviously the more effective the module is. So this is the intro. It's the same every time. Basically, you have a little accident, and so the crew all has to go into cryo sleep and set sail for the nearest star at sublight speeds, which takes a while. So this is the whole premise of the game. Not that somebody's chasing you, not that you've got to get vital information anywhere. It is literally just survival. You're trying to get home and survive. And because you've been out of it for 5 years, well, things have changed a little bit along the way. Right, so... shortest trip, the shortest route back to Earth. 10 sectors. And there is a bit of a... There's choices along the way. Because, as you can see, if we go for every sector, and I think this is randomly generated every time, that's going to be more expensive in terms of fuel, but there might be really useful stuff you find along the way. And sometimes you find jump gates that take you right to the exit. And you might skip over significant risks, but you might also skip over significant benefits by doing that. So yeah, a lot of this game really is a gamble. It's exactly the same thought behind it as FTL, is that you will die a lot and often, but hopefully you will learn along the way. However, sometimes RNG will just still kind of screw you. So we've got 4 highlights from the sensors in terms of the planets in the system, but if we go back to the ship, we can see that currently our sensors are offline, so we have to be on top of stuff before we can actually see it. So what have we got? We've got let's take a look at the crew. In fact, well, we can put down our bonus modules first. So we've got a med bay. In fact, let's take a look at what we do have already. We've got our upgraded ECM turrets, which will be fairly handy. We do have point defense. That's currently unpowered, so we might have to do some power management with this particular ship. We might not have enough power for everything all at once to begin with. Some of the ships you can basically just power everything when you start, but this might well not be the case. So yeah, let's put down, I think it is all just kind of storage reactors. I don't know if there's anything that's sort of amazingly... so that uses synthetics to fire rather than ammunition. That's quite interesting. We've got one nuke available in the missile launch tube. That's another DIY reactor. This is all just storage. There's our DIY engine. Exotics destabilizer cannon. Now this one we probably won't be able to use very often because look at that, it uses exotics for every shot. And exotics are incredibly rare. That's one we might even scrap or sell. But we can definitely turn that off for now. That might give us enough power for, there we go, enough power for everything else. So that's fine. So let's plonk down our 3 modules. So let's put that there. Now the med bay is fully automatic. I think it can have up to 2 people in it at once, if I'm reading that correctly. Yes, it can. So yeah, that will heal people using organics. So we could in fact even put our current commander in there just to demonstrate. As you can see, that's how that works. So let's assign the commander. We've got 1 person on sensors. I'm just going to de-assign everybody for now, and then we can get people on the best possible, you know, assignments. The crew will, you know, everything can just be run from the bridge, but it's just if you put people actually in the various positions, they run that much more efficiently based on what their skill is for those you know, particular systems. So we've got a mini growery, and we don't have a lot of spare storage in this spare slots in this ship actually. We've just got 3 hybrid slots left. So let's put the science lab at the back, and then we'll put the mini growery there as well. And it might be quite useful to have at least another one of these at some point, just because it will produce organics as we fly around, which offsets your organics usage. And of course any bit that's in it is instantly available to be reassigned, unlike the cryopods where people are a bit more, you know, there's a bit of a delay. So I like that you've got this little a recurring dream, being hunted by slavers. There's a lot of nice little details in this game. And you even get a little bio for your crew. An ex-assassin specialised in providing illegal voluntary euthanasia. Surely that would be involuntary euthanasia. So, yeah, what we'll do, I guess, is we'll wake everybody up so we can assign everybody, which is fine. We're not moving around, so we're not inherently using organics as we're moving. So what we can do is we can have 2 people, there we go, on that skill. We can have 1 guy there. Do we have any people? Who's left? Right, we've got one cat, 5 crew. I think we might for now put the rest back into the cryopods, but we'll let the cat run around. And this will put my consumption at -1 for the time being, I think. Yeah, we've got the drone working the sensors 2 of the awake crewmen actually in the mini growery, so they're not consuming anything as they're going. And so the only one that is consuming anything is the guy on the command bridge. Oh, I wonder if we have enough to actually... where would I find a mini growery? Integrity hardpoint. Ah! So we could... we could have an extra, like, hit points from bamboo. Somehow. Yeah, I don't know that we can. There's various things that we can do. We could increase shield hit points. Get stealth sensors. Increase storage capacity. But I don't think we have access to a... Oh, here we go, yes. DIY micro growery requires 3. Oh, okay, that's quite expensive. Oh, and I know what we were going to do. We were going to have someone in the science lab, so we're generating science data as we're going around as well. So actually, let's... I could just see who has the best science skill. We've got a whole bunch of people. Okay, let's ring up, wake up, Kong Gardenland, and stick them in the science lab. What does the cat do? I don't think the cat actually consumes organics. It just, you know, yeah, the cat apparently can do things. Okay, so that's going to increase my organics consumption to 10 as we're flying around. So it'll be -6 overall, but we should generate... Does it tell me how much we're going to generate from the lab? We could put 2 people in the lab, but well, the lab doesn't currently have power. Okay, what can we... what was it, F5? Or what did I say? K. We can unpower our weapons systems for now, so that we've got enough power going through everything else. It would be nice if it gave you... I wonder if it does somewhere. Power draw versus power generated. I'm not sure. There might be a view to see that. But you can, as you can see here, set different presets for power and crew. So you can have certain crew always go to certain stations, and presumably there's a hotkey for that. So, but we don't want to do that for now. We'll leave things be and set off. Let's actually try and explore a bit. Gosh, we're at 3/4 of an hour already, and I've only really just started. So there we go. Sensors are working. We've got various planets. We can now actually see some of planets. That's like a debris field. It'll tell you what it costs to actually go to any of these different places. So let's go to this closest one. Oh, unknown object. SOS beacon. And let's take a look-see. We actually did recover a dead rat marine. Yeah, the alien species are a bit kind of, you know, they're not that imaginative, I have to say, but it's fine. So we got a little bit of bonus material out of that. That's fine. As you can see, we're all still consuming fuel and organics. So fuel is you can generally harvest fuel from gas giants if you can find them, but sometimes there's a risk in doing so. You will also find fuel in other places. So we can explore at the cost of 5 fuel. Let's do that. The local system is fungus based. Okay, so we can hunt fungi for organics. Shall we do it? The scene was so disturbing due to the signs of their advanced behaviour that we aborted the operation halfway through. Okay, but we still got some organics and xenodata out of it. So, yeah, now I feel a little bit bad, but only a little bit. It's one of these games where you will have to make, you know, choices along the way that you don't necessarily want to make. Because, you know, sometimes it's a matter of life or death for you. Another good game that is very much into that is Sunless Sea, which I don't think I've ever covered on the channel. I've not even played it that much, but yeah, that's a game that has a very interesting concept, but quite a flawed execution. In that the atmosphere is 10 out of 10, but the actual gameplay is maybe, you know, 4 or 5 out of 10 at best. Anyway. Large asteroids. So what we can do is mine these asteroids. Oh no! Dun dun dun. That's actually cost us some... cost us some metals, 3 hit points, synthetics, but we have gained 30 explosives. So we've gained a bit of... let's put them both onto firefighting. I think the drone seems to do that automatically, which is fine. So let's get the drone back on sensors. There's definitely scope for a lot of specialisation in this game, just as with FTL. I mean, you could go heavy into a ship where you have lots of drones on board. Not necessarily drones that you control outside the ship, which is how FTL treated it, but, you know, on board drones, which have an obvious advantage in terms of they don't require food. But they presumably would come with some disadvantages. I don't think they tend to have as many hit points as people. Although maybe the combat drones do. Like this drone, I don't think would be able to fight at all. Right, so let's get back to the star view. Let's fly over here. Planet with life. Research local life. Let's send crew down. Presumably there is the risk of just outright losing crew. Harvest the star fuel fruits. Okay. We can research... Eco-harvest, research and mass harvest. So you can basically, you know, choose whether you're going to be a dick or not. Which I'm guessing this gives you... Like the choices that you make along the way, I'm guessing they have an impact on your fate points. And I'm saying this not having ever fully managed to, you know, successfully complete a game yet. It hasn't happened. It will do someday, but yeah, most of your runs through this game, just like FTL, will result in glorious death, or possibly inglorious death. So let's eco-harvest. Let's harvest nicely and... get 50 fuel out of it, 53 fuel, a bunch of organics, 200 xenodata. Nice. So we've got 1 planet left. That looks like a gas giant from the symbol. And sometimes you get just random, you know, like that corpse we found, and you can just fly around and try and explore every inch of a system, but that's very expensive in terms of fuel. So that's kind of a very high risk strategy doing it that way. So, here we go. This is one we can harvest fuel from. And... Right. Keep harvesting risk metal and synthetics. We don't really want to lose any more, especially not metal, because metal's pretty important in terms of repair. So, let's recall our stuff and leave. I don't think we actually ended up getting any fuel out of that. So, we decided not to take the risk, but we also didn't get any reward. So, now we have the chance of going multiple ways. Let's take this path here. Warp to destination to Ceros. You can see how much fuel that costs us. Unlike FTL, there's no kind of like warm up to jump kind of thing, so you can pretty much just jump if you have the fuel, but jumping is expensive, so this is why you need to explore around the place. So this is a fleet of some kind. This is their sensor range, and it doesn't seem like there's any planets. You can have a little explore around. We can see what this fleet is. There we go. They've noticed us. And it's a trader. It's very insectoid looking. Well, it's literally the Insectoid Alliance. 150 organics for 100 credits. We're quite flush with credits. Let's go for that. Okay. So we got some bonus organics from this gift that they gave us, and I was doing the air quotes there. A container's filled with the blood of small animals. Okay, interesting. Anyway, we got some bonus organics, which is quite nice. And there is in fact a planet. So let's scan it first. That's a rocky planet. And there's nothing there. So there's always that chance that there will just be nothing at all. So let's hope we can find some more fuel in the next system. Because here we go. We now can't actually afford another jump, but we have jumped in right next to gas giants, so we'll do that. I'm basically trying to play this until we get our first fight and we can see what that's like when it's outside the kid gloves confines of a tutorial, and then I think I'll wrap the video up at that point. I'm not intending to, you know, go through all 10 sectors. That would take a little while. So, harvest. Looks like we could potentially get lots of fuel from this place. Oh, accident. Oh dear. Crew's unharmed, but our ship received external damage. We did get fuel though, but we lost 5 ship hit points. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. So we're down already. So we've got an asteroid field there and potentially a hostile fleet over there. So that's a fight right there for us. What's closest? I think probably that one. Large metal object. Oh, I'm still in the habit of exactly clicking on things. You want to click nearby and scan it first. But in that case it was fine. An ancient residential station. So this is just straight up finding some stuff. Metal, which is very useful. A few synthetics. Tiny bit of organics. Then we have a planet over here. And, aha! So I was telling you that you get local warp gates. We could jump straight through to the end. But, oh, and we have a random fire. Yeah, this is a thing that seems to happen sometimes. There's a chance of things randomly catching on fire. So, as we are going to meet a potentially hostile fleet, I'm going to wake up everybody. We are going to, let's see, we'll power down the science lab. In fact, we'll just use the overlay, that's a lot easier. Let's see. We won't use the one that fires exotics because, man, that's, you know, we've got like 2 shots. And I think we're okay in terms of power. We'll leave the grower on because that doesn't consume a lot of power. Right. So, yeah, we've got point defense and we've got enough for all the rest of the turrets. Hopefully it's not assigning people to turrets that aren't actually operative. I think it is actually. Yeah, even if it's not operative, he will still go to that turret. Okay. Right, what we can do... Right, there we go, that's how I want it. Is... no, I don't want that. I don't want you to go to that turret. I want you to go to... Apparently it's a bit finicky. There we go. Manually assign them. If I put them on shields, I think it improves your shield recharge rate. And then we can assign people to repair damage. Now this is, as you can see, some of the damage we've taken already. And you can actually assign individual areas of damage for repair, or you can kind of have them do it automatically. but that can be rather more expensive in terms of metals. So what we'll do actually is, oh no, he's my, can he repair? Can this droid repair? No. We've actually got the 2 people working in the garden as well. We could assign them to, we'll have them be floaters. We'll, you know, use them to put out fires or repair stuff as need be. If we put them on repair, and then, oh, they just automatically repair. So that's just going to, I thought I'd be able to designate them being able to do that, but never mind. So as you can see, yeah, that eats up metal super quickly, but I'm assuming we're going to get into a fight. Oh, because that was all automatically, yeah, they did. So, but I guess that only uses a repair shop. So, okay, that appears to only work when you're in one of the automated stations. So, yeah, let's go and have a fight, and then we'll wrap up the video. It might even be a rat empire. What happens if we try and get there first? So we've outrun the rat empire, though obviously it's cost us some fuel to do so. Engage with automated trade platform. Let's have a look, see what they have for sale. Oh, fuel packs, that's what they are. Could in fact buy one of those. Ship repair. Mark all damage. Oh, I see. This is how you can... So that's spent some credits, and as you can see, we can buy more fuel, more metals, whatever it is we might possibly need. We could sell the exotics, but oh, I was complaining about not having a power used versus power generated. It's right there. I'm a dummy. Anyway, I'm kind of so used to that sort of thing being up somewhere a bit more visible, but no, it's right there on the economy panel. We could buy stuff, but yeah, no, let's just go and fight the rat fleet. We have already bought a fuel pack, so that's fine. We can actually there we go, get some fuel out of that, and exit. Okay, so this is automatically put us in contact with the Rat Empire, and we can basically choose our way to bribe out of it, or we can pay their fine, bribe our way with exotics, or we can go for the fight, and we're going to go for the fight. So this is 2 versus 1, as you can see. The little ship, we might try and take out that first. It's unshielded, and it does have a weapon, but it's a very light weapon. So let's take that out, and okay, obviously we're going to put 2 guys on. In fact, what we'll do is we'll put them both on security, because they might well try and board me. They can and will do that. So I've only got the 1-point defense gun, so we are going to get hit by some stuff. There we go, we're actually losing hull integrity in the process. But we can see what we're doing to this other ship down here. That doesn't have a lot of hit points at all. Oh, we've got fire. Let's put one on fire duty. In fact, let's have one on fire duty, one on repair duty. Right, that's nearly knackered. Not doing too badly, so pause, and that looks like a power system. Yeah. You basically it's you know it's like some of the weapons in FTL where you have like the beam weapons where you draw across different compartments. In this case, it's the different components that you're trying to get within the area of effect. So if we go for oh, I need to right click rather than left click. So basically, one of their weapon systems, and let's actually move that one a bit forward. So that's going over their point defense system as well. And I like, as they're firing, you actually get them showing down here how they're kind of turning and aiming. Let's also get you on repairs. Oh, we've actually got an additional fire there. So we're doing okay so far. I mean, the shields are not holding out particularly well, because we've only got the most basic kind of shield generator, but we're doing a fair bit of damage to this ship. The AI ships generally have less hit points than you do. But, you know, you never know with any individual encounter exactly how much it's going to screw you. You might end up doing really well out of it in terms of the resources you pick up. Right, presumably, yeah, enemy ships won't be commence warp drive. And can we take off their last couple of hit points? I think we can. So they're desperately trying to escape. I don't know if they can offer surrender or not. It's not something I've had happen. We actually deflected one of those projectiles there. And there we go. So we salvage quite a decent amount of stuff. We also got a fate point for winning that combat. And 3 modules. And you get to choose what you salvage. So micro reactor, that actually might be quite useful. 3D printed engine. And a soul operated command bridge. And we'll have to see if that's better than our current one. Which is a DIY command bridge. So I'm going to guess it probably is. So yeah, this would actually provide us with a hit point bonus, 2 extra hull points, and it looks like an operability bonus when it's in control of the different systems on the ship. Oh, ship evasion bonus, that's what that is. Okay, so that's quite handy. And then what we can actually do then is scrap the old one, which will give us actually 1 exotic. That's quite handy. Micro reactor plus 8. Now, is that better than, what is it? We've got like a DIY reactor at the moment. Oh, that's the warp drive. Where's the reactor module? Shield generator. Ah, these things are the reactor, right? They give us +5. This gives us +8. So, so you can get some really nice ship upgrades this way. So we actually now have some bonus power, so we could have more stuff turned on. And we can, let's put 2 people in there. This science lab, I don't think I've actually taken the science lab thing before, but it's super useful. Printed engine, so this is going to be hopefully better than our DIY engine. It uses less fuel. It has less hit points as a module though, but it uses less fuel and less power. And it also seems to have an evasion bonus and star map speed bonus. So yes, even though it has less hit points, that's definitely the superior engine. Less fuel in particular is that's going to be super useful. So we can hold on to these and sell them, or we can just scrap them for materials. And given that you get exotics from scrapping stuff, you know, getting extra exotics I think is probably going to be quite useful. Plus all of the extra everything else. So that was quite a good fight as it turned out. We came out that reasonably well. I don't know if I can actually repair my drone though. You need a separate drone bay. I'll try sending him there. No, I cannot. But yeah, apart from that, I think everybody came out of it reasonably healthy. And we can put everybody we don't need actually back into cryo. Depower our weapons. And be on our way. We might also try landing at that planet, because that was an option. I don't know if it'll still let me do that. We'll leave the point defense powered on, actually. Get that bay on. The fact that we now have a more energy efficient engine, and we can actually leave some of these weapons turned on. In fact, I'm happy to leave all my weapons turned on, apart from that one would take me over the limit. So it doesn't necessarily tell you if you've gone over the limit. It'd be nice if it did. It just tells you if you've gone up to. But we are now consuming more. It does if you mouse over. Okay, power needed if all modules are on 38, so it's obviously over what we have available. But still, yeah, that was a very good fight. So we could have just paid our way out of that, but instead we chose to... no, not the sector map, brain. There we go. Revisit. Now this time we're going to try landing. Request landing permission. I just want to see what happens when I land on this planet, basically, and then we'll wrap the video up. Okay, we can meet the locals only once. Interaction with the automated trade platform will remain open. Meet the locals. We've been invited to a poetry event. Presumably we were read works of the finest works of Vogon poetry. I don't know. It does say, you know, that we actually kind of enjoyed ourselves, so it can't possibly have been Vogon poetry. And we got a nice gift out of it, and an extra crew member. A trained space pet. And a fate point. So that was a really worthwhile trip. An organics pack. Store all and close, and we have a kind of starfish looking thing. It does attack, and it can put out fires, but it can't really do much else. So we can, in fact, send that to go and sleep. So yeah, that was cool. Not every planet is going to try and murder your crew. I quite liked that. So yeah, this is about where I'm going to wrap things up. This is a longer video than I was intending it to be, but I just want to finish by saying that yeah, I've been quite enjoying this. If you like FTL, then you'll probably like this. It's the same, but a bit more. It's one of these games that's a bit iterative rather than the school simulator game in the last video, which was pretty much just a straight copy with the context changed. So games like this, on the other hand, I can get behind. Games that add a few new ideas into the mix and are genuinely quite fun to play. So that's the shortest trip to Earth. You can find it on Steam and possibly other places. I don't know. I'll put links in the description below anyway. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, you can do all the usual things down underneath it. And of course, as always, stay tuned for more.